Hello, I'm Lonnie,
I'm Mark.
and we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux. And,
Right here in Hickson, Tennessee.
We are the busy Untitled Nerd Network, and because we got all kinds of neat stuff going on. We're going to be at Wizard World Nashville.
I'm kind of jealous because y'all are going up there and I'm not.
I'm sorry, Mark.
It's okay. You'll just have to bring me a souvenir.
We will have time. I know you're going to be at a lot of our local stuff, and there'll always be a seat there for you.
I know.
Besides, you got to go to
the
cosplay art sale, and I had to work.
That was fun.
I know, and I'm insanely jealous.
That poor little girl that we immediately we were like, we're gonna interview somebody, and I turned around and asked the girl that had the table behind us, and she was just so scared. She was just like, wait, what? She was, but she did good. And then I was like, well, we're gonna go grab other people, and it worked out really well. It was a neat way to kind of sort of introduce local people to the channel. And
Untitled Nerd Network.
Yep.
What are we talking about today?
Astonishing. So we did the preview. Now it's the review of Astonishing X-Men #1.
Okay. Now
which I picked up in my box right here at Infinity Flux. I love the fact that every single comic you get in your box has a bag and board with the card on it. So in case for some strange reason you forget where you got it.
Whose idea was that, to put an Infinity Flux sticker on the back of every? Huh?
It's the owner.
Jason did it. Yeah.
I own this place. I'm gonna put my name on it right there. So we talked about this last time, and we talked about how excited we were for it because just of the look.
Surprise, surprise! One thing I've noticed about the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are going to give minor spoilers. We're not going to give away the ending till the very end of the video.
Oh yeah, because the ending was what cinched it for me.
Minor plot spoilers. For some reason, Mystique is on here,
but she's not in the book.
She was not in the book, but Beast was.
That was I didn't get that. Unless she's Beast, unless she's masquerading as Beast.
Yes, could that happen?
Because they made a big huge deal about the fact that he's supposed to still be at Attila.
Yeah, they were like, man, after all the Inhuman War and everything, we didn't think you'd show up. He was like, well, she called.
I might have to go and read those couple of panels and see if there's any hints or something. But I love the fact that we're back to the Bishop because the last time I saw Bishop was during the whole he was trying to kill Hope, and he had a cybernetic arm and the whole 9 yards, and now we're back to classic 90s Bishop.
Yeah.
And what looks like
he seems to have a level head on his shoulders.
Yep,
now.
And he's back to his own normal self, and then we're back to classic 90s Psylocke. Just more scary.
It's neat to see Gambit and Rogue back in the same team, because he actually makes a remark
comment
to her that he still has feelings for her. She's like, even after all this time, and he's like, always.
He's like, always. So they're making him the Snape of the X-Men universe now.
God, I can't. I mean, still, I'm looking forward to seeing the Rogue Gambit dynamic. I feel like they threw Old Man Logan in there just to throw him in. My opinion on him being a part of that has not changed.
I agree with you. And like they actually, I was wondering how Phantom X, because the way that this works is Psylocke calls out to people.
Yeah.
Okay, so it makes sense for her to call out to Archangel because she dated him for the longest time. Okay. It makes sense to call out to Bishop because they were on the same team for the longest time.
Same thing with Rogue.
Same thing with Rogue.
Maybe
and
I
guess maybe it could explain Wolverine and Gambit.
She was on the blue team with Gambit.
Right. And Wolverine was on that team too. So if she called out to Wolverine, she would have gotten Logan. And then, I was trying to figure out how they gotten Phantom X in there, but then he was running around with Gambit, so he went with Gambit. And as much as I hate to say it, because we talked about how much we didn't like him last time.
Yeah.
I kind of like their dynamic.
They do have a good dynamic.
I kind of like the whole Gambit.
I will say,
Phantom X.
She didn't call Phantom X. Phantom X just so happened to be with him.
Right. She called Gambit.
But in the Uncanny X-Force book, her and Phantom X were an item.
I did not know that.
Yes.
See, I didn't read the Uncanny X-Force books. I didn't read the
did
whole
on accident.
Oh, okay. But
I didn't care for the book at all, and the big part was because of their love story going on, and I could not stand him at all.
Yeah.
And so I was like, eh.
But I do have to agree with you, Logan. I mean, it's just that whole thing
they threw him in.
They you had, before you killed Wolverine, you had him in everything. And then you killed him.
He was the Secret Defenders. He had his own book. He was
X-Men.
in Marvel Comics Presents.
He was an Avenger.
He was in both X-Men books.
He was an Avenger.
Well, not during this time that I'm talking about. And he guest starred in The Punisher, Ghost
He's
Rider.
everywhere.
He even guest starred in a couple of issues of Sleepwalker.
Oh my God, I remember that.
He
book.
was in everything. Like,
no, that's early '90s too.
Yeah.
I'm talking like even after this, because in the 2000s, like right before they killed him,
a book would have lagging sales. Throw Wolverine in there a couple issues.
Right.
Now I did read a quote in Wizard. I think it was with Chris Claremont, and he basically made mention of, hey, when I wrote Wolverine, he was a mysterious character. He was in one book that he was in Uncanny X-Men. That was pretty much it. And he was like, he appeared a couple issues in X Factor. He's in X-Force on occasion. He's in 2 X-Men books, his own book. Marvel Comics presents The Secret Defenders. He's guest starring in at least 3 books a month. He was like, to be such a loner, he sure does get around a lot.
Yeah, I know.
And then, somebody else, I think with Marvel at the time, said that they left Marvel because, if something sold well, they would keep putting more of it out until the market became saturated. And they were like, hey, if somebody wants, 17 Punisher books a month, cram it down their throats till they pop. And that's what the bubble did.
Yep.
And a lot of people are worried that Marvel is doing the same thing again and haven't learned. DC has even got to the point where I saw an article a couple of days ago. DC isn't even doing variant covers for their upcoming big crossover.
Yeah.
Because they feel like it's overdone.
Well, the variant covers, I think, I really think that, especially like with the variant, the foil covers, I think the 90s killed that.
Now, you remember for 2 years, they did, first it was Villains Month, then it was Future's End. They did every book had a lenticular cover, the 3D, really cool looking cover. They sold very well, but this year, they only did the button, the 4 issues of the button, and that was it. But they sold like crazy.
Well,
I bought them. I loved them.
I mean, but I think those sold based on the story more than the covers.
That's very true, because I'll go ahead and say I didn't even know they had a 3D lenticular cover when I bought them. That was just a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, the story for that was good. But speaking of stories, coming back to what we're here for,
Shadow King is back. Spoiler alert. And to be honest, I didn't know he was dead.
Oh God, I didn't know he died. They keep killing him, and they keep bringing him back. God, they killed him. So back before they split the blue and the gold team, the whole Muir Island saga.
Okay, I know about that.
They killed him there, or they defeated him there.
He popped back up right after Maggot and Marrow and them joined the X-Men.
He popped back up. He was stuck in Psylocke's brain, and they found a way to beat him there. And I don't know if he's popped up anywhere between there and now, but now he's back.
That was called like Psywar or something like that back then.
And I love the fact that he's back, because he's just been, since Farouk died, he's been this psychic entity in the astral plane since then, and they've not been able to get rid of him. And of course it always usually took Xavier to beat him.
Uh-huh.
And if not Xavier, then they use Psylocke as their next crutch, because
Jean Grey's dead now.
Yeah.
Kinda, sorta.
And so and I was kind of interested, based on this storyline and the fact that he was attacking all these psychics, that he didn't go after the young Jean Grey. Did you notice that?
And he has to know about her.
You would think he has to.
But maybe the Phoenix Force is shielding her.
Right, because she is running around with the Phoenix Force.
There's
a
major Phoenix storyline going on right now.
God, it's Jean Grey. I want them to do a Jean Grey story without mentioning the Phoenix. If that could we get that? Would that be possible, please? Could we? I mean, it's that again, talking about the oversaturation of thing. Like the original the Phoenix to Dark Phoenix storyline was epic.
It was.
And then you keep bringing it back, and bringing it back, and bringing it. Okay, I'm done with it. I'm sorry. The Phoenix Force was a cool concept when it was introduced. It's overdone now.
I'll say I enjoyed the Avengers versus X-Men deal where they had like 5 people embodied by the Phoenix Force. And
I didn't. I thought that was just like the best since the Dark Phoenix saga. In my personal opinion, the best Phoenix story was X-Men versus Teen Titans.
Never seen it.
Dude, I will have to lend you my copy.
Thing,
it was a 90s thing. It was the X-Men.
I saw it.
And they were fighting each other, and Darkseid was collecting memories from the X-Men to rebuild Phoenix. And apparently, the way that they brought the tie-in is that all the Teen Titans had this nightmare, and when everybody started describing it, like Beast Boy was like, "Oh, I'll turn into the image of what you're describing," and he turns into a manifestation of the Phoenix, and Starfire attacks him because that's the Destroyer God. You just turned into the Destroyer God, and so because she's an alien, and apparently like the way they tied it in is the Phoenix destroyed like a neighboring galaxy of Tamaran. And so that was I liked how they tied it in. And then you've got Deathstroke fighting the X-Men, which was just epic.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's better than Deadpool fighting the X-Men. I'm telling you. Sorry.
But
Deadpool's a ripoff of Deathstroke.
I will say, like, if you've made it this far and you don't want the very tail end of the book spoiled for you,
you might want to just hit the pause button now.
Yeah, because
it's gonna be
we're
right
about to talk about the last page
by me.
Major reveal, and that was that
Shadow King has Xavier locked up.
Yes.
In the astral plane.
And that is the mind of Xavier. I'm assuming. And it didn't look like, I mean, granted, he's chained up in a chair.
Right.
I mean, hundreds of chains, and he's sitting there unable to move. But he didn't look too unhappy to be there.
No,
he almost looked like Evil Xavier, and we've seen Evil Xavier.
We've seen several.
He looked very much pre-Onslaught Xavier. You know, where he was walking around in shadows with a mean look all the time. That for some reason I never picked up on until he was revealed as Onslaught.
I don't think anybody. They did a really good job with that story of not really. I mean, they dropped a lot of hints. The fact that Juggernaut was his first victim was the biggest hint, because when they were kids, Juggernaut picked on him. That should have been the biggest.
But everybody thought that it was like somehow Magneto had come back, and
well, technically
he did, kinda.
Technically, so I'm happy for this, because what I would like to see is I would like to see them somehow get rid of the Shadow King, and have Xavier be that force. No, not a bad guy.
Oh.
Just have him exist in the astral plane, so he can still guide, and direct. And because, like, I'm sorry, all of this. Oh, there's 5 different schools of X-Men now, or something like that. There's like Wolverine's school, and then there's Kitty's school, and then there's like, I think the X-Men need Xavier back in their life.
You do?
I do.
I think, because that answered my next question. I personally think that Xavier has outlived his usefulness. Because I'll go ahead and say, from like the time they rebooted the Excalibur series and they revealed that Magneto was still alive,
right,
and they were working together on Genosha, from that point to the time Xavier died, which was the span of maybe 6 or 7 years, it just seemed like he had no place. It was almost like, I don't know, I almost feel like Magneto is doing a better job of being a leader now.
And see, I agree with you. Like, there towards the end, and I attribute it to bad story writing. They were really not
Xavier
doing.
Just struck me as an asshole.
Right, but if you go back to like old school X-Men books, like pre-90s X-Men books, I mean, he was kind of sort of that stuffy, stuck-up teacher, but you could tell, like I think we got to a point where you're talking about in the 2000s, where it seemed like Xavier cared more about the dream than he cared about his students.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
And then, but back in the 80s, you could tell that he cared about his students and he wanted to invest the dream in them. And I think that somewhere the writing went wonky, which is why you get Cyclops being the prick he was. I mean,
to be honest, I never really saw anything good out of him since from like Onslaught forward.
Right, and I think you're right there. I think my favorite Xavier stuff is back shortly after he got back from running around the galaxy with Lilandra. And he came back, and all of that, all the way leading up to the 90s Xavier. Like, the 90s Xavier was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like, right there when they rebooted it with the blue and gold teams. That Xavier was, that's the kind of sort of the quintessential. So, I'm interested to see what they do with this and what kind of Xavier we're going to get out of it and where they're going to go with it.
My favorite Xavier moment, and this is, you're going to wonder why you couldn't automatically pull this out of the hat. Uncanny X-Men number 296, maybe? It's the one immediately after the Executioner song Wrapped, and it's where Jubilee takes him rollerblading.
Okay.
He has temporary use of his legs for a little bit because of the techno-organic virus after effects, and she gives him a pair of rollerblades, and they go rollerblading together and have kind of like a father-daughter moment.
I remember that one. My favorite one is it's just the big screenshot at the end of the Muir Island saga where it's got all the mutants there, and he's like, what am I going to do with so many X-Men? And then it leads
X-Factor number 70.
Yep. And so that one was good.
That was when they all had those goofy looking blue and yellow
outfits. They were all on the classic blue and yellow outfits. Leave the classic blue and yellow outfits alone. I like those.
Those were really classic. They were
had we gotten those in the original X-Men movies, like the original Fox X-Men movies, I would have been happy. Instead, they put them in this black leather crap.
No, and the originals were black and yellow.
Yeah, they were, well, dark blue and yellow. It would depend on the printer.
The artist.
Yeah, depend on the
printer.
Because
later on, they kind of became a navy blue and yellow. And
I think they were supposed to start off as navy blue and yellow because that's the school's colors is blue and yellow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
learn something new every day.
But
yeah, Xavier's back.
You know what I always want to know? What's the school mascot for Xavier's school? Like we know what the school colors are. We know what the motto is. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but we know what the motto is.
Probably.
What's the mascot?
Dupe.
You
know who that is?
Dupe. That was the little God. He was the external he was from that weird off-brand X-Force comic that they had. Ecstatics. Yeah. Which was absolute garbage. Yes.
In my personal opinion. I know people who think that's the best thing ever written.
I know people who want to see like a show or a movie.
I didn't care for Ecstatics. I didn't care for the art. That guy.
I didn't care for Runaways.
Huh?
I didn't care for Runaways.
Never read it. But I actually tried Ecstatics because my cousin, he was a huge Ecstatics fan, had the whole run, and even the X-Force books leading up to it. It was Ecstatics, but wasn't called. It was still X-Force.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, check this out, check this out." And I read it, and I think the guy's name was Mike Allred that did the art. He actually has recently done Silver Surfer. It's kind of the weird cartoony look.
Yeah.
They have the weird looking Egyptian eyes.
That anime cartoony look.
Yeah.
That like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles currently has and Teen Titans currently has.
I didn't care for Ecstatics at all, and some of the stuff where Dupe was in the 90s X-Men series in the later issues, like 180 forward, he popped up like Polaris and Gambit, and Havoc was back after he had spent his time in a coma. And
dude, Mutant X, that was a good storyline.
Didn't they have a kind of sort of TV show based on
that? They had a Mutant X TV show, but it wasn't about him. It was, I can't even remember what the heck it was, but the Mutant X storyline was a really good storyline, mainly because I'm a huge Havoc fanboy. But
speaking of Havoc, isn't he in one of the books right now?
He was, the last time I looked, in Uncanny Avengers. He was the leader of Uncanny Avengers.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Because I saw him in passing. It seems like
in Secret Wars or Secret Empire.
Yeah. Wasn't he in Secret Empire for a little bit?
Yeah, he's like the so Captain America before he went goofy, when he was still Old Man Cap, before he got de-aged again. Okay. Set up what he calls the Avengers Unity Squad. Yeah. Which is basically a group that's made up of mutants and Avengers, and Havoc's the leader, or was at the time. But that's all.
Because I know he popped up in Secret Empire for a minute and was talking to somebody.
But I haven't really seen him.
Emma Frost? Was he talking to Emma Frost? I don't remember. But anyway, Astonishing X-Men number 1.
Good art.
Is actually,
Good art.
Yeah, it did have excellent art.
Good story.
And it really harkens back to the 90s.
Yep. Which I think, and again, it just seems to be, I know we've mentioned this before, but I think that's what they're trying to do with us. I think they're trying to lure us back in.
They're trying to harken back to that.
The 90s stuff that we loved.
They're trying to scratch that nostalgia itch.
It's working. We were talking to the guy that's working here at the comic book store, and he said that he had heard that this book was the best one out of, like Gold, Blue, and this. What do you think?
Not yet.
You're still stuck on Weapon X being the best one.
I said Weapon X is the best, like, new concept. The fact that you have Domino, Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, and right now the Awesome Hulk and Lady Deathstrike all running around together. The Weapons Mutant Destruction series is really good. God, this is so far my favorite had been X-Men Blue.
Right.
I really like the stuff that they're doing, the stories that they're doing, and everything. I thought it was pretty cool that Gambit popped up in X-Men Gold, but X-Men Blue is my favorite. Now you're gonna say favoritism here, and I'll be honest, the first 2 to 3 issues of Generation X was pretty good. Now, if I wasn't a Jubilee fan, I don't know if I would have made it to this point. Like, I may have gotten rid of the book by the time issue number 4
And
hit.
the books, really, truth be told, they're not really focusing on her that much.
No, but, and maybe that's part of my problem, but the newest issue, they had the return of one of their classic Generation X 90s villains.
Implate?
Kinda.
Oh, I gotta read that one.
Spoiler alert.
I need to read that one.
He has merged with his sister.
Oh, they did that a while back.
Yeah, but he's
because like
done
that's like their power set is that they can
Done it
merge with each
again
other.
and is going around
So that's
draining powers.
that's M plate.
Kind of, sort of.
Because that merger was the letter M plate. That was I remember that. From
There's
back
some
in the
weird
day.
stuff because they've got Implate, the brother,
Mhm.
and then they've got
Monet.
Penance, which is basically like an empty shell, like a body that's still somehow walking around.
So
And then they've got the twins, the twin girls who combined to make Monet.
right. And they could swap out with Penance, and they could
Yes.
swap out with, and they could, and if M plate merged with them, it became a whole new different ballpark.
Yeah. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Well, dude, it could have been worse. I mean, just like Maggot, what's his powers? His guts came out and turned into 2 slugs and ate things. Come
yeah,
on.
seeing his origin story.
They
is actually
they
pretty
got
neat.
some really weird characters. Like they're in the early 2000s, late 90s.
But
Like,
on
what
a
the
scale
heck
of
is
1 to
this guy?
10, Astonishing X-Men #1, what do you grade?
I am putting it right up there with about with Gold. I'm a huge Kitty fan. I like this book. I'm gonna put it up there at about a 9, 8, 9.
I'm going to say an 8. I really like the art and everything, but I've never been a big Shadow King fan. I could give 2 craps about Shadow King.
Right.
But the team dynamic is good, and it's going to stay in my pool until they give me a reason not to have it in. Like, I'm sorry, but Astonishing X-Men, Generation X, Weapon X, and then X-Men Blue and Gold, those are probably going to stay in my pool
Until they give you a reason to not to.
regardless of if they're any good or not, because eventually, if they do have a crappy couple of issues, they will get good again.
Right.
That's just the X-Men. That's how they roll. And I don't.
Or they'll
want,
just reboot it again.
I don't want to be like, okay, I missed issues 7 through 14. It got really good at 15. Now I've got to go back
And catch up.
and buy 7 through 14 now. Oh, holy crap! Issue number 11 was a big first appearance of a character, and now it's $20. Well, crap. No, I'm going to keep getting these books because I'm not going to. No, I
Right.
can't take the chance. And that's what Marvel's banking on.
They want us to. They want to hook us, reel us in.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out the book if I agree with you. Shadow King has never been like when you think X-Men villains, Shadow King's not one of the ones that jumps up to the top.
Yeah.
However, when you he's the first villain that Xavier ever fought. Like he's the if they haven't retconned it, he's the reason that he decided to establish it because he encountered Farouk, and it's because of him that Farouk physically died
And
and
he
became
actually saw Storm as a child at
Right.
that point. I remember.
And so, that whole thing, like, he's been around in the background, and every now and then Marvel will dust him off and bring him out, and he's a heavy hitter.
That's the thing. Like, he I don't like him as a character, but he does stuff.
He's a heavy hitter. I mean, he's basically just pure psionic energy living in the astral plane, and he's a telepath. And he's a telepath on the order of strength of Xavier.
You have a Tyrion Lannister type like Shadow King T-shirt.
Oh,
It's
dear.
like, I'm the Shadow King. I kill people and I do things.
I kill people. Tyrion. Tyrion, let's still help me God if they ever kill Tyrion. I'm done with Game of Thrones. Oh my God.
Anyway, that's all for the our quick comic book malarkey review of Astonishing X-Men #1. And also, check it out. We're going to have a video that we've recorded. It's going to be releasing in the next day or two. Movie malarkey. And we're going to be talking about the Stephen King It and Stephen King's The Dark Tower. Both movies coming out in the next few months. And we talk about the trailers and expectations and all kinds of good things.
Check it out. It's a whole new segment right here at the Untitled Nerd Network.
Yep. So, anyway, that's it for the Astonishing X-Men #1 review. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
And we are
live
Untitled Nerd
at
Network
Infinity Flux.
on location.